Hi. The MC today is pretty good, huh? I like the guy. Now, I'm going to take you to the year 2022. And as we established earlier, everybody was hungry, right? Everybody was hungry for human connection, for coming back together. And in Germany, the first event that I hosted there, right after COVID, was an event where I met this guy. Now, what's so special about Arnold? We love Arnold, do we? We do, right? So for me, it was really exciting. But then, right before I walk onto the stage, here's a brief from the organizer. Don't touch him. Don't talk to him. No autograph. I'm like, that's not exactly what I expected. And then I'm backstage, and here he comes in, walking up and down in the darkness, not talking to me, not talking to my co-host, no interaction. I'm like, that's going to be great. He steps out onto the stage and delivers a keynote full of passion, joy, and energy. Then he sits down, has an interview, and then on top of that, he takes 2 questions from the audience, and his responses were amazing. And this was a masterclass in what it means to have a human connection, because he stood up, he flexed with his 70 years, and he gave it everything he had. And then afterwards, the audience celebrated him. He was standing at the edge of the stage, shaking hands for minutes. It was insane. And this is really what he showed me, that, wow, we can do things differently at events. Well, just recently, I celebrated in Munich at the BMW Welt my 200th event project that I hosted as a presenter. But actually, it's a bit of a lie, so apologies for that. It's a lie because I've been not only 10 years on the stage, I've been actually 20 years in the events industry. And it all started for me in 2006 when this young guy hosted his first surf competition in a small town in Bad Tölz, where we have exactly the same wave as they have at Atlantis. And that's where I hosted my first event. I hosted it because there was no budget, right? We know that. When budgets are cut, you gotta take the microphone yourself. That's how my career started. And ever since, I have done many different events, whether it was, selling cars for Audi at the car show. I have been for Jack Daniels at festivals, promoting them while I was studying event management and communication management. And I've also done many other things, such as here in Dubai and then in Abu Dhabi, staying a month at Yas Island, where I actually then launched the M8 and we created an amazing experience. I did one of my favorite events, the CEO Summit, where we had not only Sheikh Hamdan's camp, we had Sheikh Mohammed's beach palace. We played a little bit of badminton on top of Burj Al Arab, because why wouldn't we? And then also I took Sheikh Mohammed's yacht for a sunset cruise. Pretty cool when you can do that. And I got lost in the fashion industry for some time and was in the Kenzo jungle and many other events. And all of these experiences have taught me something, and that's what I want to share with you today. Because it's really more about the connections that we can have. It's about the connections that we can have, and that's what they are. So I want you all to ask yourself, while I deliver my keynote, is event experience as great as it can be? Can we do more? I want to show you some opportunities, low-hanging fruits. And it all starts, of course, with a welcome. How was your welcome today? Exceptional, very good. A lot of silence. I mean, the team of Xenia, they are hands down fantastic. But what I thought I'd do is I give actually somebody a very special welcome. And that's what I did. So I would like to quickly put the lights on and give the mic to Omar, because Omar from Emirates Flight Catering, how was your welcome today?
I'm first here to attend this conference, and to be honest, we didn't know what I need to do. So I enter, and then Flo was at the reception, and then he grabbed us with welcoming and saying good morning. And honestly, we had to engage directly with him. And honestly, we felt the emotional that when I tagged my Apple the registration, and then my name came up, and directly Flo just took a look at the card, and he used my name as a good morning, Omar, welcome, Omar. For me, I thought that I'm expected in this event, so I felt very emotionally connected with Flo and to the event directly as well.
Thank you very much. Omar, round of applause for Emirates Flight Catering. And yes, I gave Omar and his colleague Jean-Luc the VIP experience. I brought them all the way to the morning cafe and shielded them from the first connections that wanted to disrupt them on the way. So, of course, we can't do that with everybody, can we? No, that's not possible. But here's what we can do. There's a few shining examples. Golf food. This is one of Xenia's team, and this is Simeon MM Upke. And you know what he did? On the way to Sabil parking, he was standing there with an awfully small speaker and a headset. But he was interacting with everybody, smiling at people, shouting at them, shaking hands, giving high fives. And I was like, okay, this is how we start an event. And if you go to a larger scale, well, GITEX did it right. I was at GITEX Europe in Berlin, and here's what happened. There's this mountain of a man, DJ Sean Ogunlele, and you know what he did? Play music? Yes. But on top of that, he looked at people and goes like, hey, this is you. I've seen you before. How are you doing? Are you from Germany? Hands up for Germany. Where are you from? Shout it out. It was amazing. What a welcome. 9 a.m. in the morning. And what happens when you arrive at registration then, after you pass by DJ, Sean? You smile. You start your day in a different mood, right? And is it that expensive to have a DJ and a booth and a PA system? Nope. That's a very moderate investment, but the return that we get is fascinating. So we're going to take a closer look mainly at organizers of conferences, because I do a lot of conferences. Yes, and some for some of you. And you know what I noticed? What happens on the main stage? Protocol, right? Hopefully we get somebody official onto the stage. Second could be the organizer, correct? Yes. But what happens on all the side stages? Is there an organizer on stage? No, exactly. Yes, there is no organizer. Why is there no organizer? We want to connect. I want to know who's putting that show together. Who's in charge of the stage? Why don't they come onto the stage and say for 30 seconds, for a minute, hi? You know why? Because of this.
Public speaking is a skill that all of you can learn.
It's a skill. It's the skill of public speaking. You have no idea how many of your colleagues I have asked, why wouldn't you say a few words? Why don't you do this? They're like, no, I don't want to, I'm too shy. That's not cool, right? Because it's a moment where we can connect. And again, training our teams, enabling them to connect is not that complicated, but it makes a big difference, right? If they're ready to jump onto the stage to greet people, that's what brings it. And that's what makes a difference. And then we need to talk, of course, about the setup. I'm quite sure that we measure the ROI for how many lights we put in there, and I've seen some wonderful stages. I mean, the UAE, the Middle East rocks when it comes to great stages. That's what we do well here. But the question is, are we using them well enough? Well, think about the lighting, right? We've got a bit of lighting here. It's quite cool, but what happens with the lighting? We put on the color of the logo. If it would be already something like this, where we had a car launch for Aston Martin, that's already quite sophisticated for a conference, right? 3 different light beams in colors, doesn't happen. But what's that opportunity? When I say 3, 2, 1, I can turn everything black. And now I can see exactly who's on their phones. That's good, no? Let's turn the lights back on again. Thanks, team. Shout out to the team, huh? This is only possible when you have a great team, such as here from DXB Live. You have amazing lighting, but you don't use it. And here's the truth. We know that colors have an impact on people. Do we? Yes, we do. But nobody looks really into the psychology of colors. I have not once at 200 events seen that somebody goes strategically and says, in the morning we do use this color because in the lunchtime maybe this color, in the afternoon maybe a different color. We don't really have an impact on people, and lighting is right there. You're paying for it, but you're not necessarily using it in the way that we could. The same goes for music. Did you notice the jingle that we do? Can we play the jingle for a moment? Of course the team can. Superstar team can do anything. Listen to the jingle for a moment. It starts with a bit of heartbeat, the human connection. And then it says human to human. Thank you so much. Guess who created that jingle? Who created that jingle? What do you think? Yeah, Flo did, yeah. And I am not anywhere where Stefano is, right? But with AI, I can do that. And you have no idea how often I come to a conference and ask them, do you have a Sting? They go, huh? Or they go, no, we don't have a Sting, or it's just that corporate, downloadable stock footage that doesn't add anything. Well, this was 1 hour of my lifetime, and it's actually pretty nice. It adds ambience to it. And we have speakers that actually can power a rock concert. So we should use them, right? Same goes for that really big LED screen that we have. Is the investment in content really always on point? I don't. But here's a shout out that I want to give to Informa. And you know why? Because it was at the Future X stage, exactly at this Future X stage, where Zohaib Maji, he is the conference producer at Arab Health, and now it's WHX. He created the best content that I have seen in a very long time. He got a professional agency in, and therefore, we were immersed in the show. It makes a big difference. And this is also what helps us to maybe get people off their phones. What do you think? Do I see a lot of people on their phones when I deliver the introductions? A lot. Sometimes I do not kid you, up to 80%, because when that happens, I start counting. I'm like, let me just note that down for my next communication class. It happens. Everybody's on their phone. And I can understand that. I want to show you something, quick experiment. So if you all do this with me, please, you need to put your 2 hands out and shake them really hard, yeah? Again, I can see everybody, so please, everybody participate. Yes, tech team, you can participate as well. Thank you. Shake your hands really hard, really hard. And now take your right hand and put it on top of your head. Where is your head? On top of your head is what I said. This is the art of attention. Yeah, it's not easy to pay attention. Exactly. I learned this wonderful trick from Jim Quick, a fantastic keynote speaker and somebody who studies the brain. He shows us that it's not easy. And the other huge opportunity that I see for you is, of course, when it comes to programming. Ladies and gentlemen, I love the programming. I love that we're trying to squeeze everything in, but it doesn't work. I get the main stage a lot, which is fantastic. But what happens at the main stage? First session, it's packed. And then, literally, after the first big name, half of the audience is running out, and I've tried everything. I'm like, hey guys, I'm doing an interaction, I'm jumping up and down the stage, whatever I do, they will leave. And what does that tell us? Of course, when there's a big name, it will have more attraction. But when we just put session after session, we focus more actually on quantity than quality, people will leave. And therefore, your main stage is not as effective as it could be. And same goes for the other stages. So yes, a lot of speakers, fantastic sometimes for your program, but does it really make the event experience better? I'll doubt that. And the other point I have to put out, because I'm tired of it, the slides that I get to see in 2026, I did not dare to put any photos up there because I didn't want to offend anybody. But I can tell you that even today, we see slides that are full of data, and the organizers, well, actually allow speakers to come onto the stage and put that in front of the audiences. And what's the problem with bad slides? Either we start reading or, well, they're ineffective and we don't even look at them. But it's not really what works in terms of great communication, in terms of a presentation that is engaging. So yes, it is really the organizer's mission to make the speakers better when it comes to content. And not only when it comes to content, because the delivery is what transforms. The delivery is really what works well. And Maya Angelou said it so well, right? It's not just about the content, but it's about how people feel. They will not forget how you made them feel and how we made them feel at conferences. So therefore, you should always strive to make your speakers better, to force them to, maybe we do another rehearsal. And we can also do a rehearsal online. Curating the content and making sure we deliver it in a way that is powerful is actually what we should be doing. And the delivery can be upgraded in so many ways when you use the wow factor. I'm a big fan of the wow factor, and some of the organizers do that really well. GITEX in Asia, Singapore, I had the honor to be there. You know what was one of the best sessions we had? This session where we had one humanoid and 4 other robots, 5 robots onto the stage with Unity robots. Guess how many cameras were up? everybody was there, everybody was packed, everybody did not want to miss that. It was an amazing moment. Or Hub 71 in Abu Dhabi, when they had the impact, look how the CEO came up. Yeah, he had an elevator. Like on a rock concert, I of course had to use the elevator. But it's so cool, and it was so daring because not many CEOs actually dared to be on an elevator at an event. What do you think was the audience reaction? Did they love it? Of course, they're like, yay! And then when he came down, he just went like, hey! Everybody had so much fun. A memorable moment that we created. Or at one of my favorite conferences that I host in Munich, the wonderful Bits and Pretzels Founders Festival, I get a t-shirt cannon that I get to shoot at people. Yeah, I know it's a bit wild, and we don't do that always, but it is what works well. And earlier, I interrupted Professor John Luca. Why did you think I did that? Just to create a moment. Was it the most effective moment? Maybe not, but did it take your attention for a moment to the side, maybe away from your phones? Yes, it did. Was it complicated? Not at all. With a little bit of creativity, we can do so much. And in schools, we expect teachers to do edutainment, so we should do the same here at events, at conferences. And when you look at formats that we do, well, there's a keynote, there's a panel, and an interview, correct? Is there anything else? Some days, but not very often. Let me show you a few examples. This is amazing. This is a liquid networking at the October. Yes, I know, it's a bit haram. Yeah, it's wild. But what's so amazing about it? We're merging the culture of the Bavarians with a business activity, and this has actually become a key pillar of the Founders Festival. 5,000 people. Don't ask me how I tell them to change tables. It's a bit hectic, yeah? I have to use the voice a lot. But it is amazing. Everybody loves it. And this year, when it was canceled because of a bomb threat, everybody was crying. Everybody was crying because it is the most beloved element of a conference. And you can do also different formats on the stages. You should check out Max with the career ladder. If you have not seen him, check him out on Instagram. And I loved it that they put him at Web Summit onto the stage. An influencer creating a really different format on the stage. Wow, that's a moment that we won't forget. This winter, in March, I'm going to Innsbruck. And you know what I'm going to do there? I'm going to be hosting pitches in a cable car with my full-on snowboard gear on. How cool is that, no? That's a format. When I saw that, I'm like, hello, I want to be part of that. This is exactly what it is. And the innovation doesn't need to be always crazy. It can also be small, simple things that we do. When I was on stage with Pep Guardiola last year, you know what we did? We had a 20-minute interview. And what was the best part? The 10 rapid-fire questions that he couldn't prepare for. Yeah, he was honest, he was spontaneous. He also gave me the look and he's like, Flo, don't mess with me. I'm like, okay, boss. I did not. But it worked so well, and that was a part that the audience loved the most. And rapid-fire questions can also be done in a business context. But it makes a difference, right? And all of these elements are the secret sauce. And I want to show you a photo of somebody who, again, showed so much of the human connection. Do you know Michael J. Fox? Michael J. Fox is unfortunately severe ill with Parkinson's and literally in the end stages. And 2 years ago, I had him at a conference in Munich. First of all, he took photos with 50 people individually, and you can see that he's seated. He was not able to stand through that. Then he went onto the stage, and they had to put 2 microphones onto him because his head goes left and right, and this is how he sits. But he first delivered a 5-minute keynote, and then he delivered a 30-minute interview. And what amazes me the most, when he stepped down from the stage and he looks at the organizer, you know what he told him? Chris, I think you're happy because I gave everything that I have. Now that's when somebody is really giving everything and using a moment to inspire. And that's really what I want to put out to you. When you organize an in-person gathering, it is not just B2B. It's not just B2C, and it's not just peer-to-peer. It is and always should be human to human. So I invite you all for your next event, think about how you can further humanize the experience. Thank you.
Woohoo! Thank you, Flo.